Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the press conference this afternoon. I'd like to introduce you all to Pastor Peoples.
I want to say, my name is Roy Peoples, Pastor Work Conference of Point Life Church, and I just want to thank everyone for allowing us to speak to you today. Also, I want to thank the city of Kenosha for the peace and calm that it has been experiencing over these last few days. The unity that is on display for the world to see is that we are now beginning to be creative to turn chaos into calmness. We also want to thank everyone who is participating that's out there for the unity that they have shown to each other. We are positioning ourselves to receive the necessary tools and resources to address the disparities in our community. Also, again, we want to thank, we want to pray for the Jacobs family for their healing. We want to pray for what they are asking for, this peace, and we want to honor that and calm for the city. We want to also thank you for the peace and unity as we are answering the hard questions of the day. That's how do we move forward as a city. And so therefore, we are excited about the coming week and activities that's going to be here. And so I'm sure that you are too. With that, again, I just want to say thanks to everyone.
Well, I also want to give a special thank you to all the young kids, all the young people who came out over the weekend to paint, to show the support that they have for the community. Of all the people who came together to clean up and to liven up the uptown and the downtown, so that when people come to the community, they see that, yes, we have issues, yes, we're going to deal with those issues, but more importantly, we as a community stand together, and we will make a difference. And so today, as I want to thank all of them, I also want to thank Pastor Peoples, because he is going to be doing a huge lift in helping us work through many of the issues that we have coming before us. He and the Department of Justice are going to be working with us on a number of our racial issues that are in the community, and we're going to work together to resolve and move forward on those issues. I believe that you will see a stronger Kenosha when we're done. There's the other issues I want to bring up, though, I think is, again, people need to understand. The Guard is here, the police, the sheriff, the fire, and officers from around the state and other places are here to be supportive of what needed to happen to make sure that we had peace. I have every confidence in those individuals and the work that they're doing. We will get better and do a better job continuously. So thank you very much for being here.
Jim Cruiser, Kenosha County Executive. It's been truly moving to see the people of Kenosha from all across our county coming together, respect, understanding, peace through prayer, peaceful protests, and showing the world our community in transforming the boarded up buildings into a beautiful tapestry. It's been very touching what the citizens have done here and for the world to see. I hope you all here had a chance to see them, and if you didn't, that's the rest of the story in Kenosha County. On August 4th, the county board approved a resolution declaring racism as a public crisis, health crisis. And I'm committed to this work. We're going to build upon our already strong partnerships with Pastor Peoples and the city, Adeline Green and the Coalition for Dismantling Racism, and many other organizations have been doing great work here in Kenosha County. I've also heard the call for transparency, and I can tell you that body cameras for the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department will be in the budget that I will present October 6th for implementation in 2021. I want to thank our community for adhering to the curfew last night and for the number of nights we've had and letting protective services do their work. I encourage more tolerance, peace, and unity as we rebuild Kenosha County community to be even stronger tomorrow than it is today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Well, the county executive mayor pointed out we've had several days of peace here, and we have. The last 5 days have been closer to normal for Kenosha. And really, if you go outside of a few block area in Kenosha, life has been just like it has been all the time. The businesses have cooperated, people have cooperated, the citizens of Kenosha have been outstanding in their support for everything that's been going on here and assisting law enforcement in so many different ways. From the very beginning, I pointed this out, but I want to make it clear that every entity has been extremely cooperative when we've asked for help. We've had resources from 40 different police agencies and sheriff's departments throughout Kenosha. When we called for the National Guard, we called the governor's office, they responded immediately. When we put out the call to the federal government, the governor had to make the call to the president, and more resources came. And since all the pieces came together, we've had more calm in Kenosha. Protests have been peaceful, and we're very, very thankful for that. There have been a few arrests. There's been over 200 arrests since this started. Over half of those have come from outside of Kenosha. But I've learned this last week more about these types of events, things I've never known before. And I've learned that, and this is really for the people of Kenosha, any place this would happen again, there are a lot of outside agitators that try to scare people. They will make phone calls to businesses, to churches, to residents, trying to scare and intimidate. Don't let them do that. Don't pass along social media that has been passed along and actually created to scare people. We have vetted out thousands of social media, I don't know what you call it, but little pages, little snapshots or quotes, and most all of them have been false. As you pass them, please let us know things you see, but remember, as there are people from outside Kenosha, outside Wisconsin, and we've had some that are outside the United States calling in here to scare people of what's going to happen. We have got, if I could share just the resources that are here in Kenosha, it would make you feel better. And I'm not going to share that. That isn't what I'm here to do. But I'm letting the people of Kenosha know that we have a lot of resources, boots on the ground, technology. We have a lot of resources here and at our disposal to keep Kenosha and the county safe. And there's been no politics. I'm going to assume that on the outside of this county and outside of this operation, there's a lot of politics being played. You don't see it here between the different agencies and all the different forces that are here. You don't see it. It's one cohesive group to protect this community. And I'm very proud of all those different pieces. For the young lady that asked me last Friday if I saw the video, and then someone actually sent me a little snippet of me, someone on that last Sunday night a week ago handed me their phone. And I remembered that situation, but if you saw that video of me holding the phone, you didn't look at what was around me. You did not look at the rocks being thrown at me, the Molotov cocktail that was landing near my feet. I wasn't looking at the phone. I was looking at the people that were very animated around me. And this weekend I did look at the video. I still don't have a comment on it. You're asking me to make a comment about something that my department isn't doing an investigation on. And I found out that there's a lot of things that are coming out that aren't quite accurate, but I'm letting other people sort through that. I'm doing the job I have to do, and that's to help keep people here safe.
Good afternoon. I'm Major General Paul Knapp, Wisconsin's Adjutant General. As we move into week 2 of this response, I want to provide a brief recap of the Wisconsin National Guard's mission here in Kenosha. I'd like to start by doing also a recap, something I think that I've discussed a couple times in this forum, but I think it bears repeating, and that's the process and how it works when we get called out. So what happened was the events of the 23rd of August occurred after 5 p.m. And shortly thereafter, when the unrest started to occur, local authorities here, local officials and authorities made contact that evening, as early as that evening, with the governor's office and emergency management, and started the process to have a guard response. And then what that works, or how that works, is once the governor approves, we can send in our quick reaction force, and I can activate the quick reaction force based on the governor's authority. What the quick reaction force is, that's 125 service members. So I know I haven't talked a lot about numbers, but I think this is an important number, because that's the number of service members that we have on a 12-hour recall, which means that once that call is made, and once we start those forces moving, 12 hours later, they'll be at their armory, ready to depart on mission wherever they're needed throughout the state. So that's kind of how that works. And then follow-on forces would be 24 plus hours after that, because as I explained in one of these early press conferences, and just reminded everybody that the National Guard, they're citizen soldiers and airmen, and they have other jobs, and they're when they get called, they have to stop what they're doing, report to their armories, gather their gear, ensure that all their training is up to date before they can be involved in a response like this. So that's kind of the background. I'll go into a little bit of the timeline now. So it started on August 23rd, approximately, and that was all through the evening. So went from when the event occurred through until when we actually received the official response, the official request at 3 a.m. And that came through at 3 a.m. And at 3:09 was when I received verbal direction from the governor to activate the quick reaction force to mobilize those guardsmen in support of Kenosha. To be perfectly clear, there were a lot of calls, both between the locals and the State Emergency Operations Center and the governor's office, and then also with me, and then me notifying my subordinate commanders to be on alert for this mobilization coming up. So I just want to make everybody aware that there was a lot going on between when this event took place and 3:09 when I got the verbal go-ahead from the governor. At that time, that was at 3:09, and then I gave the authorization to mobilize troops in accordance with the county's request. And there were numerous calls, which I mentioned during that time frame. And so we actually started the process based on the verbal authorization, which was followed up approximately 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning with a written order from the governor confirming that request to mobilize troops in support of civil authorities here in Kenosha. Kenosha County also requested emergency police services, armored vehicles, radios from the state, the emergency management, over the course of Monday afternoon. Then 2 Wisconsin State Patrol strike teams and an additional 125 law enforcement officers from neighboring jurisdictions and around the state responded, and in addition to the quick reaction force for the National Guard, were here in Kenosha on Monday evening. On Tuesday and continuing through Friday, we increased our number of Wisconsin National Guard troops in accordance with the plan and the requests from the local authorities, and this number topped over 1,000 on Friday. Again, I haven't been talking about numbers, so decided to go with that number. And that just give you some idea of the size of the force that is here in order to protect the public in Kenosha. Governor Evers also made an emergency management Assistance Compact request, or EMAC, and I talked about that previously as well. And basically, that's a request to other states to provide additional National Guard assets for the efforts here in Kenosha. By Thursday, August 27th, the state had secured those memorandums, those compacts with the other states, which were Michigan, Arizona, and Alabama, who sent their military police companies here to assist. And those states began arriving here on Friday last week and have been augmenting all of the other forces in place here in Kenosha since then. So we're grateful that this weekend has remained peaceful in Kenosha. I can't say that enough. We're honored to be of assistance here in the state and in Kenosha at the time of need. Our National Guard troops will remain in Kenosha for as long as needed, and we'll have all those discussions in conjunction with the governor and local authorities on how long we'll be here. And we'll continue to assist local authorities in preserving public safety, our #1 mission, and setting the conditions for people to exercise their First Amendment rights. Thank you. Okay, and now, again, same as last time, since I'm at the podium, I'll be the first to take questions.
Sir?
Yes.
What role, if any, did the White House have in sending National Guard members to Kenosha?
So the White House rolled in and has talked a lot about sending National Guard members in. And what I want to reemphasize is that the process is actually a governor-to-governor compact through the EMAC process. We had already started talking to other states. It's one of the things we do right away during something like this. It's a common practice and expected, and so that's how that went.
So if the president tweets, if I didn't insist on having the National Guard activate and go into Kenosha, Wisconsin, there would be no Kenosha right now. That would be an untrue statement.
Well, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment on the president's tweets.
Sir, from a security perspective, should the president become involved?
From a security perspective, again, so from the National Guard perspective, our mission here doesn't change. Even with the president coming tomorrow, that will be the majority of the security that will take up the movements of the president while he's here in Kenosha. That will be taken over by local law enforcement and state troopers.
Sir, will there be continued curfew?
That would be a question for the local authorities. They'll be up in just a minute. You can hold that question for them, please.
Sir, does the president's visit provide any complications for you as the National Guard tomorrow? And if so, what? And how are you preparing for that?
Well, I would say it does not present any complications for the National Guard. We have a large number of forces here, and we're going to continue our mission, which is public safety surrounding Kenosha and offering people the right to exercise their First Amendment rights.
This question is for the mayor. Mr. Mayor,
Sir, we're gonna wait till the mayor comes to the
okay.
podium.
Maybe you can answer then, sir.
Well, you're going to hold that one for the mayor, if you don't mind. Thanks. Okay.
Hi. So you're the Adjutant General for the Wisconsin National Guard. Who is in charge of the Michigan, Alabama, Arizona Guard, and are they in contact with you?
That's a great question. So under these compacts between the governors, what that does is that sends the service members from the other states here to Wisconsin, and they're under my operational control and command here on the ground. They remain under the administrative control of their home states. But we are in contact with them. In fact, I've been out and visited soldiers from all the states that are here represented outside of Wisconsin.
Sir, you indicated there's 1,000 on the ground as of this weekend. Is that the number that it remains right now, and do you expect that number to rise?
It's over 1,000, and that number will remain constant until we have a conversation with the local authorities and all of the other law enforcement agencies that are participating here, and we decide that it's an appropriate time to start to scale back. And that's over 1,000 Wisconsin National Guard members. That does not include the National Guard members from other states, which I'll tell you are over 500 from other states.
So the number's 1,500 right now. And
yeah,
when will you reevaluate that?
We reevaluate that on a daily basis.
How do you determine which states to call from?
So what we did is, the question was, how do we determine which states we call from? Well, we started having conversations with states that we have a relationship with, the nearby states. Michigan would be a good example of that. However, the National Guard Bureau is instrumental in assisting with getting that message out that we were looking for additional military police companies. And so they helped us put that message out. So we were handling the situation on the ground here, and then the National Guard Bureau, which is in DC, they then put out the message to the other 53 states and territories for assistance, and that's how that works. Okay.
No further questions for?
I see one there.
Could you elaborate a bit on last Monday night's law enforcement strength in town? You said something about there were 2 state patrol strike teams. How many per team, roughly?
You know what? I actually don't know the exact number of a strike team, so I'm not gonna say it's a. Yeah, I don't know about the strike team strength.
You also said there was an outside law enforcement.
Yeah, about 125 is the number that I gave, and so that's based on an emergency policing services request that also comes through the State Emergency Operations Center. And when that request comes through, and generally that's done before we would call the National Guard. In this case, it was done in conjunction with calling up the National Guard, so that we had both going at the same time. And so that first night, that's a call that goes out to all law enforcement around the state for assistance here in the area. And there were over 125 that responded and were here on Monday.
General Knapp, how important was the Guard being here towards maintaining peace in Kenosha?
Well, I don't know that I'm a good judge of that. I think the National Guard has done a great job of being here and helping to set the conditions for safe and peaceful protests and public safety here in Kenosha. So I'm very proud of the response from the National Guard across the state. You know, like I've said many times, we're your neighbors, and we're definitely happy to be here and offer our assistance.
Would things have been different if you weren't here?
I really don't want to speculate.
Sir, can you talk in more specifics about what your agencies are doing? I know you talked about keeping the peace. Are you making arrests, or are you leaving that to the local officials?
Great question. No, we are not making arrests. That is something that the local authorities and sworn police officers and sheriffs are doing in this operation. And that's fairly standard. What we do is the National Guard, what we do is we come in and we fulfill roles that allows those law enforcement officers to be freed up from other roles. Like when you came in here today and you saw that the perimeter and entry control points were being staffed by National Guard. That's so that the officers that would normally be staffing those can be out on the streets doing what they do best.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
A question for the mayor.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell us who's coordinating the president's visit and where he will go when he visits Kenosha?
I will tell you that the reason the chief isn't here is the chief of police is working with Secret Service and everyone else who's required to be working with for the president's safety and his visit, and I cannot give you any details.
Will you be meeting with him?
At this point in time, I cannot give you any details on anything that's going to be happening.
Should he be coming? Should the president be coming, sir?
One at a time.
Should
Thank
the
you.
president be coming to the town of
I
Kenosha at
think
this time?
I put my statement out early yesterday morning that I felt the timing was wrong. We always have room for presidents to come to visit, candidates to come to visit. That's the process that we have, and it's something that we appreciate and have to do. But the timing on this we felt was not good, and so we did make a request for him to do it at a different time.
Mayor, why do you think that the timing is wrong?
I think that you have a community that's in the process of trying to heal. There's so many things that have gone on in this community. It just seemed to me and others that it would be better for us to be able to pull together, let the community get together and actually heal up the process of what's going on and start dealing with the concerns that we have that need to be addressed. So it would have been nice if it had waited a while, a little longer down the road, but it is what it is.
Mayor, do you feel that Kenosha is being used as a political prop?
I think that Kenosha at this present time needs peace and needs to heal and needs people to allow us to do that. And that's what I think Kenosha needs.
Mayor, when we hear the sheriff talk about agents from even outside the country reaching out to churches and businesses trying to churn anxiety, how does that hit your ear? What is the goal, in your estimation, of people doing that kind of thing?
To me, it is one of the most aggravating things that can happen. People are trying to instigate the problem. All communities have issues, and it's important for people to realize that we need to deal with our own issues. I don't need outside groups trying to agitate my community, or try to, and I shouldn't say agitate, try to scare my community. So hopefully as time goes on, we'll track down some of those folks, and they will be dealt with according to the law.
What do you think their agenda is?
I'm not even going to try to speculate what someone's agenda is.
Will you be issuing additional curfews, sir?
There is going to be a continued curfew through the rest of the week. The sheriff and I have chatted a little bit about the timing of it. The curfew will be continued through Tuesday night, and then on Wednesday it will be extended to 9 o'clock.
Mayor, are journalists exempt from that curfew because law enforcement officers tried to tell a reporter that he couldn't be there and had to use the curfew?
That is a very good question. I will definitely talk to the law enforcement to deal with that so that that's not a problem.
So media is exempt?
I think that there has to be a reason. Again, the law is what it is, but I need to talk with media, or talk with the local officials to make sure that it's accommodated.
Mayor,
Do you have any response from the White House when you asked them not to come?
No, I did not.
Mayor, you've spoken about systemic racism in Kenosha and in Kenosha County. Do you believe that law enforcement here contributes to that?
I think law enforcement does a very good job in our community. And like every entity and every group out there, we have to deal with racism in general. And I think that is what we're planning on doing.
Mayor, will you meet with the president tomorrow, and what will you tell him?
Again, that has not been established in any way, and I will let you know if and when I do something.
Mayor, what kind of preparation is taking place for the president's visit tomorrow?
I cannot tell you. In all honesty, I cannot tell you, because that is something that law enforcement is dealing with, and I am not involved in that aspect of what's going on.
Mayor, you mentioned that you want the community to heal. Why is the president's visit not a healing event?
I think at the present time, this community, to be very honest with you, would like to have everything just calm down. Nothing against all you wonderful people here, but some of them would like to probably just see a lot of this just toned down and have the opportunity for people to talk. We need to talk. It's internal. We need to do that.
Mayor, the sheriff talked about how there's politics at play here. We are in a swing state, you know that. This is an election year, you know that. Can you speak about how you are looking at it through the lens of how politicians are using this moment in time?
Everyone is going to be always doing this with the politics of what's happening. We have a presidential election. At this point in time, you know what? I care about my community, and I care about the people in my community. And that's what my focus is, and that's what I'm going to focus on.
Is your community being exploited, though?
I think you've already heard what I've had to say on this issue. I'm not going to continue to go down this road.
Question for the sheriff.
Good, time out.
How'd you get out?
Yeah.
Sheriff, the county executive talked about body cameras for your deputies. Has this been something in the works? Have there been budget delays, or is this just now coming on in light of what's happened?
No, we've been working on body cams for several months. So this isn't anything new. And the budget is still in a work in progress for 2021. So it hasn't been presented to the county board. The county exec has already said that it will be in the budget to be presented to the county board.
How are you guys dealing with preparation for the president's visit tomorrow?
There is a large group of people that work on this. It isn't just this event. The president's been here before. Other presidents have been here before. They come in different ways. And the actual event itself, I know he's coming in, but even if I did know something about his arrival and things that, those types of things, I can't discuss it.
Sheriff, you said earlier, you said more than 200 arrests were made. In the press release, it said from more than 44 different cities. Two-part question, can you talk about what cities, and are we seeing a city in particular more than others? And can you show us pictures of the weapons that were seized?
When I said earlier, there were over 200 arrests, and the numbers were kind of mixed together. There are 40 law enforcement agencies from throughout the state here. I don't know the exact states that people came from. There were, if I remember right, there were about 205 arrests and 114 were from out of state, or out of Kenosha.
Does arrest numbers include of people from 44 different cities? Can you talk about that?
I didn't get that number, so maybe our department put out a press release like that, and maybe they read that to me earlier, but I didn't write that down. I tried to write keynotes.
And the weapons, what kind of weapons? Can you show us the weapons that were seized?
I don't have those. Those would all be processed and evidence. I don't have those. I don't know what kind of weapons there were.
Sheriff, the Kenosha Police Association has said that Blake fought with officers and refused to drop a knife. Obviously, other side is saying that is not true. This is what's leading to a lot of frustration and confusion. They're also saying their efforts to tase him failed. Can you please shed some light on any of this, please?
Well, and I can't. The major reason for that is DCI did the investigation. For me to give any details that my department is not investigating, that would be completely inappropriate. So DCI, I know that they're trying to get this done as expediently as possible, but I don't have comments on the investigation. I just can't do it.
Sheriff, we heard from the mayor said that this community needs healing. This is obviously something that he wants first and foremost, and therefore he's not particularly supporting the president coming tomorrow. What are your thoughts on that? Should the president be coming to Kenosha?
The president coming here, and we all know it's election year. We've had, my understanding is, well, the governor was here last week. I don't know if there's going to be other visits here. Does anyone of that stature create more work for us? It does. And for me to comment, should he be here? Some think he should, and some think he shouldn't. For me to give my opinion truthfully on that right now, it doesn't matter. I know that he is coming, and we're doing our best.
You're the chief law enforcement person here. That's what the problem is here. So what is your opinion?
Hi, Sheriff.
Go ahead.
Would you care to, what is your opinion as chief law enforcement?
I just answered that before I even finished.
So Sheriff, I understand issues of chain of command, and I asked this question previously, but again, you are chief law enforcement officer here. When the president tweets, if I didn't insist on having the National Guard activated and going to Kenosha, Wisconsin, there would be no Kenosha right now. Is that a false statement?
Truthfully, the person who could answer that better. All I know is that when we requested the National Guard, we sent it to Madison, and Madison sent people down here. General Knapp was one of the first ones here. Who that gets coordinated through, that's one of the things that's not in my world, and I think he answered that kind of already. But I don't know the steps. I can't tell you.
How safe will the president be tomorrow?
Hopefully very safe. It's quite an operation to get a president here, to get the governor here. There's a substantial amount of resources to escort the governor around. The president's even a higher level, and vice president is in that same realm too. So the president is going to be hopefully quite safe here. That's our goal.
Sheriff, can you provide any update on the Rittenhouse investigation?
That's the city police department and the FBI. I mean, I know the basics of it, but I have no update on it.
Sure. Is the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department working with federal agents in the city?
Absolutely. We're working the Sheriff's Department, other 40 other law enforcement agencies from out of the state, a huge number of National Guard and resources from the federal government are here working together as one entire unit to protect the city.
Sheriff,
there's a national reckoning right now with police reforms and such in the wake of both George Floyd and the Jim Blake shooting now. Do you believe that there are any reforms necessary in Kenosha or at the state level or at the federal level?
I'm open to anything they want to present, any kind of special training or anything they want to do. I'm open for making whatever changes we can. And I have not seen what those reforms are, so I really can't comment on them. But if there's ideas that we can do things better, I'm all for it.
Sheriff Beth, you said you didn't see the video on Friday, then you said you decided to watch it over the weekend. Why that decision now?
Because a young lady asked me if I'd seen it, and I watched it.
Because she said it, not because of your experience in law enforcement?
I'm not an investigator. When I was on the road many years ago, I did okay on the road as an investigator or as a deputy sheriff. Other people are much more talented than I am to put that type of evidence together. My world right now for the last 18 years has been to do this type of thing with media. It's been to meet with the public. It's been to run the sheriff's department. I let the investigation part go to the people that in my department and other departments that do it much better than I do. And part of the other thing is I'm out here speaking to all of you to give my opinion on very short little clips. I don't think it's appropriate because you're not seeing the entire thing. I think a lot of people in all different parts of this entire situation are giving their opinion, but they don't know all the facts. I don't want to do that.
Sheriff, you talked about individuals reaching out to businesses and churches, trying to rile them up, some from outside the country. Can you give us some detail on what you think the motives are there? Where are they coming from outside the country? And what are the messages?
Let's see. I know one church that I don't belong to had a phone call and asked if I was a member of their church. And then when the pastor there asked about it, they hung up. There are businesses here that have some real shirt-tail connections to the sheriff's department. And they called and said that they would be, I don't remember exactly what it said, but they were threatened in some way. I don't remember if they were gonna harm them. I don't remember that part. I've seen little clips on social media that people would forward to our staff and they'd research it, that there are 6 buses coming down from Wauwatosa and they're ready to, do whatever. Well, we look into that stuff, but it never materializes. Another one that they said that this group was going to go out into the county in different subdivisions and different towns, and they were going to start burning and looting, which created a big scare for people in Kenosha. And we looked into it. We have, as I said earlier, we have a lot of resources here investigating that stuff, and a lot of it gets out to the public, it gets spread thousands of times over. By the time we can actually research it, 1,000 people know about it and they're afraid. So I'm just trying to, my goal with explaining this is there is a huge amount of misinformation put out there by people wanting to scare citizens here in Kenosha. And I wish I could make it stop, but I don't think I can. But I want the people of Kenosha to know that huge amount of resources here to protect you, and you won't see them all. And when this gets finished, whenever that happens, you still will not know how many resources are here right now to protect you. Will that be able to stop anything that happens or comes our way?
One more question for Sheriff Beth. One more question for Sheriff Beth.
Of the people arrested, can you say how many were protesters? Do some of them just live here and were they out? Is curfew? Can you elaborate on that?
I have no idea who they arrested. I know some were arrested for burglary. There were some for weapons complaints. We've had some people that were felons that were carrying guns. I know that there's one carload coming from northern Wisconsin that they were coming here to kill somebody, and unfortunately the person wasn't very smart, had an ankle bracelet on, and they were able to intercept him as he was coming into Kenosha, and he had guns. So,
what do you think they were coming to kill somebody? What?
I didn't finish yet. So did I answer your question though? I don't know exactly, and that's part of our problem. We don't know especially like Tuesday night, we don't know who's doing what. We don't know, are they a protester? Are they trying to protect? Are they, there's so many, they don't have hats that say press. They don't have hats that say I'm a protester. We don't know until we actually put our hands on. Someone?
What do you mean they were coming here to kill somebody? What?
Well, I was one of them, so I wasn't trying to put that out there, but.
I mean, it was with threats to law enforcement, with threats to you.
Yeah, I think me and the chief, we have a lot of friends, and I don't want to speak for the chief of police, but there's a lot of things that our bodies physically won't take with all the threats that we have. It just won't fit.
Sheriff, you touched on the video of you watching the video, and you mentioned Molotov cocktail was being done. Can you elaborate more on that situation and what was going on? Were you injured by any of the, you said bricks were being thrown? How about that?
That entire time it got worse and worse as we went into the evening, and by the time we finally got out of there, there was one city squad car that was completely destroyed that I ended up barely getting into. The captain was struck in the head by a brick, and he fell right in front of me, and then we were trying to leave that area as calmly and quickly as we can to protect us, to get the group to hopefully calm down. And that was processing a crime scene is not easy. And it took, I don't remember how many hours it took, but yeah, I was getting all kinds of things thrown at me, Molotov cocktails. I was getting, I don't even know what they were throwing at me, but I could feel the ground rumble near me.
Specifically while you were watching that, the sound
yeah, if you, and again, I saw that, and the group that's standing around me was very animated, and I remember it very clearly. I was watching, I had it here, I'm watching everything else around me, and trying to also watch in the air to make sure nothing's coming out, because it was before that, and I can't tell you what was thrown at me at that time.
Sure, that's the last question, Sheriff.
A follow-up, when you say someone was trying to kill people, was that a post that was made on social media? Were you guys being threatened directly, or can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
I'll do that one.
Any details of this assassination?
Let's see, I don't know how we found out about that group of 3 that came down from northern Wisconsin. I don't know how we found out about that one. I was alerted to it, and there have been some emails and stuff that are a little bit more directed toward certain people, myself being one of them. And how those 3 were picked up at the beginning, I don't know that. It's a great question, but I don't know that answer.
Sheriff, how have those threats affected you?
Any questions for
Yeah, the county executive. Yes, sir. Can you step to the podium? Will you be meeting with the president tomorrow, and what is your opinion on him coming?
I don't know the agenda of the president's visit, and I have not been contacted to meet with the president.
What's your reaction to him coming to visit?
Well, I put a statement out also, and basically it's not the ideal time. There's a lot of crisis going on in our community, and there's limited resources, not limited resources, we have a lot of resources, but there's a lot, even in good times, for a presidential visit, to in fact have a visit. So, but things have been relatively calm, so let's just hope it stays that way. That would be good.
Related to that, sir, are you worried at all or concerned that the president's visit will inflame tensions or lead to violence?
We'll find out tomorrow, won't we?
Any other questions for the county executive?
County executive said that the sheriff's deputies would be getting body cameras hopefully in this new budget. Any talk about Kenosha police getting body cameras that you've had?
I'm dealing with just the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department.
County executive, there's been not a lot of detail out on the amount of damage, a dollar amount on damage. Do you know, have any estimates yet on the dollar amount of damage from the fires and other things, and whether any residential properties were burned, and if they were, how many, including apartments?
I don't have the totals on that, but that's an important point that we need to address from an insurance issue, to make sure that they're getting paid full amounts so that they can reinvest those back into the community to rebuild. We have some dollar amounts at the county, but if they're loose figures right now as we move forward. I know the city's calculating theirs also, and we're working, I will call into CAVA for them to be reaching out to businesses so we don't miss anybody. It's not always obvious of who had damage and who did not. We're
who made a report. So,
I don't think there were any single-family homes that were burned, but do you know if there were?
I couldn't say if there were or there weren't. I don't know of any right now.
Executive, I know you sort of already talked about the president's visit, but the Blake family says that they have not been contacted by the White House, at least not yet, as of a half an hour ago. Should the president be making an outreach to the Blake family, and should the Blake family take up any kind of invitation to meet with the president if, in fact, that's a possibility? What are your thoughts on that?
The president has so many advice on what to do and how to do it. But as long as you ask that question, what was your question, sir, for the general?
Was that a false statement, the president tweet?
What was that?
The tweet?
I didn't read the tweet.
Tweet was something to the effect of.
No, what was the tweet?
A tweet by the president?
Yes.
If he had not activated the National Guard, there would be no Kenosha. Is that a false statement?
Yes, that's a false statement.
But
So,
you're a political leader here, though, and the Blake family is, the victim in all this. So, what is your thought about whether the president?
I'm not going to answer questions and presume what the president should be thinking. You have to ask the White House for that.
How would that affect your?
We're on to the next person.
How would it affect your community if, in fact, that meeting happened? Would it be a good thing?
I did. You said it was a false. What part of it was false? That he activated the National Guard, or there would be no Kenosha? Elaborate on that. Why do you believe
You
that
asked
tweet was
specifically
false?
2 different times, one question.
Yes.
I wanted to give you an answer to that question.
And I'm asking
I
you,
didn't.
why do you believe it's false?
Because Kenosha is a strong community. We were going to come back regardless.
So do you
Every
believe-
day, great things happen in Kenosha County. We went from 1988, when the assembly plant closed and rebuilt. We went through the Great Recession in 2008 and rebuilt. And we were the hotspot of the Midwest, and even in some parts of the nation, internationally, up until these recent turn of events with COVID and this. But we're going to rebound again, because this is a working class community. We have a lot of businesses here. We doubled the amount of businesses here in the last decade that are substantial employers. And Kenosha is going to be on the comeback. And for someone to say we wouldn't exist but for their action, when I believe it to be false, because I know things too, I just have to tell you what I believe the answer is. And that's false.
Do you believe
Next question.
Somebody else.
You have 2.
Do you believe that Kenosha
Sir,
is
do you have
used as a
2
political
questions?
prop?
I'm sorry.
Sir, would the messaging be the same to the Biden campaign if they wanted to come later in the week as far as waiting, please hold off, or is it particularly related to the current president?
I believe both of them should wait till the end of the week or the weekend, but I haven't heard from the Biden camp, so I don't know what's going on there either. So, there we go. Thank you
Anyone
very
who
much.
has not asked a question?
Yeah, I'll ask you the same thing I asked the mayor. Do you believe that law enforcement in Kenosha and Kenosha County has contributed to systemic racism in any way?
We are working with the entire community to work on this. Every community has work to do. And we're going to be taking those steps, not in the short range, but also in the long range. We do training, working with our people and our community. I think it's a good start. If you look around our town right now, the plywood's up, and so are the creative talents of all the people who live here. They're good hearts in making us feel at ease once again. So Kenosha's going to be in a good place in the years to come, and addressing racism is going to make us stronger. We diversified in business from when they used to assemble cars here to now. And now we're going to be stronger by having better diversity and working together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes the press conference. Thank you.